Hello, and welcome to the We Get to Do This podcast. My name is Kaylee.
And I'm Jacob.
And we are your co-hosts.
In this show, we're going to dive into all things our lives, from our partnership to romance to entrepreneurship to growing our businesses together, our fitness journeys, and we're going to have a ton of different guests on that relate to what I just said in some way. We're hoping you enjoy the show, and if you do,
please feel free to follow us, leave us a 5-star review on wherever you listen to your podcasts, and enjoy.
And if you don't like the show, tough. Thank you.
Thanks.
What's up? Oh.
Hey.
Hi.
It's another 10.
40 episodes. It was a very candid start.
Well, our last podcast asked if we edit, and we don't.
So good, because you've been a little feisty today, and we're going to get the real feisty Kaylee.
Well, you deserved it.
Yeah.
Anyways, welcome back. It is another special one of our every 10 podcast episodes. So in case you've missed the first 3 of these, every 10 episodes, we give a special 10 things that we've learned as a business, as pod hosts. And this week we are going to do our top 10 recovery tips, because recovery is key and something Jacob and I are both very passionate about, and something that helps keep our athletes and ourselves healthy and continuing to do what we all love.
Yeah, I think a lot of times people get hurt or burnt out or something or another because their recovery isn't to the level that their training is. And they may think it is, but it's usually not. So people will often say, oh yeah, I was overtraining, but I like to think about it more as under-recovering. Because if we go through all 10 of these things today and you feel like you're not, adequately at them, it's only a matter of time, I think. And it goes in waves and whatnot. So, but I think it'll be good for everyone to hear. Mm-hmm. Let's kick it off. So, number 1, and I picked this as number 1 because I think it's hands down the most non-negotiable thing, and that is sleep. We've heard it before. We've said it on this pod before. But here's the thing. Sleep, you can't beat it. There is nothing better than good sleep. And it's not necessarily just the length of sleep, but also the quality of sleep. So keep that in mind as well. 7 to 9 hours is the average recommendation for everyone. That's just like if you Google that or like read a book, whatever, everyone just says 7 to 9 hours, right? If you are an endurance athlete, and are working out consistently, that in my mind, that means 7 is way too low. If the average is 7 to 9, like you should be getting close to 9. So, and you can get that in the form of naps too, if possible for you. 20 minutes goes a long ways. And then the other thing too is remember quality too. So, things that typically will mess up your sleep: alcohol, your last meal, if you have big windows and you live in a area that has a lot of light, get shades up, things like that. Number 1 is sleep. Do you have anything you want to add to that?
2 things. If any of you have a Garmin watch, it will actually tell you what your recovery time is, and a lot of that can be altered by your sleep. So just another example of how that can affect that recovery time. So like we had a trail run yesterday, and I think my recovery time was over 40 hours this morning, and that was actually less than it was yesterday because it said boosted by good sleep last night. And then second thing, huge on top of what Jacob's saying about getting good sleep, you can alter your circadian rhythm by watching the sun come up, getting those first sun rays, and then also seeing the sun go down. And then avoiding artificial lights after it gets dark. Because if you are watching TV, if you're looking at your phone, it's going to tell your brain that it's still daytime, even when it's not. So make sure you at least have the blue light on your phone, red light, blue light, and Stay away from those artificial lights before bed.
Yeah, blue light blocker.
Blue light blocker.
Get some blue light glasses.
Glasses are great. Yeah. Sleep is huge.
It's kind of the number one thing. Like I really, nothing else on this list compares to that. I think if you don't have your sleep right, nothing else on this list really matters, in my opinion. But they can help in times when you may have to slack on sleep, or if you really want to continue to boost your recovery.
Yeah. I would say sleep, yes, is super vital, and so is nutrition. So that's my second one. If you are going out and doing a super hard, intense workout, and you either just don't eat anything for hours, which Jacob's going to talk about too, or if you fuel all of your days with junk food, it's very hard for your body to recover after that. Because if you think about if you go and do a strength workout and you are breaking down your muscles, you're breaking down your body, if you're doing that, if you're doing a hard run, your body needs solid whole food nutrition in order to recover properly. So, what I mean by that is protein, fruits and vegetables, whole grains. We need healthy fats. Healthy fats, as in olive oil, grass fed butter. We use a lot of organic ghee.
Avocado,
Avocado is a great one.
yogurt.
There's avocado oil. You need those healthy oils to repair your cells, along with the protein. We both do protein shakes, but even my preference, even over that, is to grab a beef jerky stick. Costco sells bags of Chomps grass-fed jerky. That's your whole food nutrition that your body can actually respond to and help to repair with. And I promise you that you will feel so much better if you are fueling properly and enough. Especially as endurance athletes, I think the majority of us are not eating enough, and that's myself included. It's something that I need to remember a lot. But the quality and the sourcing of your food matters. And by sourcing, I mean whenever possible. For meats, opt for the grass-fed beef. Fish, wild-caught fish. I know sometimes it can seem more expensive to have sourcing like that, but I cannot stress how important it is to get good quality meats and organic foods. All of our stuff is so heavily sprayed with pesticides, things like glyphosate these days, and that can actually wreak havoc on your gut. So, not trying to scare here, but it is really important. And if you have the ability, usually actually shopping at your local farmer, and if you split, a quarter cow with somebody, it will actually be cheaper than if you buy your meat in the store. So there are ways around this. Costco, if you're in Minneapolis, our business center, you can get grass-fed meat for like $5.50 a pound. So if you're looking for more affordable options, always reach out because that's something I'm always looking for too. Because we are also not made of money, but food is so, so, so important. Please give your body the energy and fuel that it needs to heal.
I agree. My next one is the timing of nutrition. I'm lucky enough that Bay is very on top of the quality. So I'm very privileged to not have to worry about that as much as I once did, which I will recognize. And I focus a lot on, because of that, and always really, but I focus a lot more on the timing of nutrition. And also eating enough, you can put that into this category as well. Assuming that you are an endurance athlete or someone that is working out consistently, if not, then what I'm about to say may not be as specific to you. So keep that in mind. But if you fit those categories, nutrition, timing, and eating enough, as endurance athletes, I generally see people aren't eating enough. And I do think the sourcing of foods are important, and I'll have those conversations with clients a lot. We both will. But a lot of times I find out later throughout conversations that people actually aren't eating enough. I see that all the time. So I'm not going to put a specific number on it, but make sure you're eating enough. If you want more help on that, reach out and I'll either help or refer if I can't help. But that's all I'm saying on that. Nutrition timing, though, I'm gonna try to make this very simple as well. You should eat before every single workout, period. I get that there are times when you may argue for runners that working out fasted could theoretically then help your body practice burning fat. I'm not against that. Again, those are kind of those exceptions, I suppose. For the majority of us, you need to eat before you run. And that could be as simple as taking, and this is where like the quality versus timing thing comes into play a little bit, in my opinion. But if you say you don't have time to make breakfast, throw some Tailwind into a bottle and drink it on your way down to run, right? So there's things you can do, or take a goo packet, honestly. But also, like a banana is very easy to eat, in my opinion, and it's like 70 cents or something like that. Bananas are super cheap carb sources, but they're very mucus causing. So I digress. So make sure you're eating before your runs. And then the other thing that I find almost more beneficial to that is Aaron Boyke once told me when I was training with him in Colorado that he's always thinking about the next run. We would literally be finishing workouts or runs, and he would be scooping more carbs or protein, depending on the section of the run or if we were done or not, in his bottle. And I was astounded at how much he was taking in. And he was like, I am always thinking about the next workout. And again, it depends on how much you're running and lifting, etc. But for the most part, think about the next day and think about how you want to feel from today's workout tomorrow. I find most people, when they get super sore after a workout, assuming they are at that level to handle said workout, it's because they did not eat soon enough after. And a lot of times I'll ask people, I'll go, so when did you eat after your run? And they'll say right away. And then I'll say, okay, what time? And they'll be like, well, I got done with the run at 4:50 p.m. and then I drove home and we cooked dinner and I was eating by like 6 p.m. You know, that's not soon enough. That's over an hour later. You just beat your body up so much. Like, it is looking for nutrients during the workout, right? You start using those carb stores during the workout, and your body starts building or breaking down muscle as well during the workout and bone and all that. So, literally immediately afterwards, get a shake in. It's a long-winded way of saying that. Shake or beef stick or whatever. Like, if I'm doing a weightlifting session, I'll usually start drinking a shake or eating a beef stick during my last set.
We've been doing a lot of the perfect bars lately too.
Yeah.
Also sold at Costco. They're currently on sale, $14 for an entire box. So a lot of good ingredients in those and a quick thing to grab.
Yeah. Shop the sales. People are like, I used to tell Kelly, like, it's too expensive to eat this quote unquote healthy. And then she showed me that it's not if you plan ahead and shop the sales. It's kind of crazy, actually.
Yeah, plan ahead, like meal prep for the week so that you have, sweet potatoes ready, so that you have things and aren't constantly scrambling. Because then the cost will add up if you're constantly having to go out to eat and grab quick things on the go versus from your refrigerator or pantry. Another kind of nutrition related thing, but hydration. If we are not hydrated and have enough liquid in our body, again, your body will not be able to properly recover. And if you've ever done, again, a hard workout or a long run, and this has been me countless times, but in the afternoon, I get or used to like get extremely fatigued and tired. I still do this sometimes, and usually it's because I did not take in enough water and electrolytes. When we are running, when we are lifting, when we are moving, our body is constantly using electrolytes such as sodium, potassium, magnesium, and we need to be repleting these. One of my top suggestions for my patients, athletes, is Start your day with a large glass of room temp lemon water. You can add a little bit of good quality sea salt to this, but the first thing you should be drinking in the morning is some kind of water with electrolytes. So many people tell me that the first thing that they drink in the morning is coffee, and that's kind of just our standard in our society is we wake up and drink coffee. Coffee is going to further deplete you of those electrolytes. So, I'm not telling you not to drink coffee, but please, before you drink that coffee, have some lemon water, have some electrolytes, give your body some hydration after you've been depleting it all night long, and drink something. A good rule of thumb, this is just on average, is to drink half your body weight in ounces of liquid every day. So if you're, 140 pounds, 70 ounces, for example. Most people are not getting enough hydration, and it's extremely vital for even if you're not working out, you need to be hydrating. All of your cells, your brain, your nervous system, everything depends on hydration. Your muscles, like we are mostly made of fluid, so we need to be taking in fluid.
Tip five? We're on tip five.
I think so.
I think this is tip five. So, supplements I think can be very beneficial coming off of the nutrition side of things. I get asked about supplements a lot. And I'm going to break down what I typically tell people. And then I would love to hear your recommendations as well. The first thing I usually will recommend for people are electrolytes. Keely just hit on that first. Most people need electrolytes. Again, these depend on the person I'm talking to. The second thing I usually go into is micronutrients, and you can usually get a lot of bang for your buck, specifically in some type of fruits and greens powder. There's a lot of good ones out there. And then the last thing I talk about is protein specifically, and I will recommend amino acids before protein powders, but I usually do both. And I like to do protein powders that have added either fruits and greens, or I'm taking like a daily meal protein powder right now from Nutridyne that has a bunch of extra amino acids and vitamins mixed in, or like a health drink. That's what I do. I don't usually do like just straight protein powder personally, just because it doesn't sit as well with my stomach. In addition to that, I will typically go through phases where I'll do some type of adrenal support. I think adrenal support is very, very beneficial for runners for a numerous amount of reasons, but you're essentially depleting your adrenals all the time. And I'll either do herbs from you, or I'll do some type of complex that usually has B vitamins and other things that are going to raise my help control cortisol levels, essentially. You might also be the type of person who needs the opposite of that and needs to kind of bring cortisol down, and that could be like an ashwagandha type of thing, or magnesium, or things like that at the end of the day as well. But those first ones I mentioned, electrolytes, micronutrients through fruits and greens, protein powder, and aminos, is a pretty good place to start over, like, not to say these things aren't beneficial, but I would talk with a professional, like fish oils, zinc, vitamins C, or any other vitamins in like isolation. And then I also am a big fan of liver pills. Gross, I know. Wow. No, here's the thing. I think they're fantastic. I really do. I feel like I noticed such a difference. I don't even know how to describe the benefits I feel from liver pills, but I don't know if, I feel like more tonicity from them almost, and like my ability to like withstand mental thing. I don't know. Like I just feel better. But you'll do a better job justifying liver pills, I'm sure, than I will.
Yeah, I mean, with liver, it's basically straight up iron. So for a lot of my patients who are blood deficient, iron deficient, that's something that I'll recommend. And with that, I'm always going to first encourage whole food nutrition and supplementation, or whole food nutrients. But with today's day and age, we're just not getting the same nutrients as we once did, which is where the supplements come in and are very important. And a lot of liver, for example, a lot of people don't want to eat actual liver, so that's why the capsules are wonderful. Along with that, sourcing again is very important. So I'll link some of our favorites into this podcast episode too, just so you guys can have an idea of things that we're having and where we shop for supplements. Typically, places like Walmart, Target, Amazon, you're not going to be getting as good quality of supplements. If you are buying from like Amazon, for example, please try to get the store that's like actually like making the supplements versus third-party sellers. There's not very much regulation around these, and I don't want you to be taking things and just have expensive pee. Is in you're taking them, it's going straight through your system, and you're not actually absorbing any of that. Also, highly recommend always working with an individual practitioner, whether that's me, your chiropractor, whoever it is, to go over supplements. But like Jacob said, I mean, amino acids are pretty safe for everyone to take. Again, I'm not trying to give you medical advice, but amino acids are wonderful as your body breaks down. It's a great way to rebuild and repair all of your tissue. Magnesium glycinate is another really good one. Again, back to our electrolytes. Magnesium is really good for the nervous system. It's really good for sleep. And like he was saying about micronutrients, micronutrients are so important, again, for all of our cells to fire and for our bodies. And we're just not getting that in our diets these days. And a lot of that's not even to any fault of our own. I mean, an apple that you eat today is so different in terms of nutrients than it was 20 years ago. So that's why supplements can be very beneficial. I also really like adaptogens, especially for endurance athletes. Adaptogens are things like cordyceps, for example, and again, can help support energy levels, recovery, your nervous system. And again, if you have any questions about these, reach out because it can be like very individualized with some of these things.
Fun fact,
Yeah.
research has shown that to obtain the same amount of vitamin A found in a single orange from 65 years ago, one would need to consume 21 oranges today.
Jeez. Yeah, that's insane. I could go off on this for literally hours. I wrote a report on this in school, got me a scholarship actually, but yeah, it's due to soil depletion. It's due to, again, the pesticides that I said we're spraying on things. Like, it's what we are eating today is so different than what our grandparents were eating. And again, that's why it's important to buy local, buy organic, grow your own foods and veggies by using compost so that you do have that good soil. But a lot of it comes down to the soil health, and we continue planting the same crops over and over and over again until all of the good topsoil is gone. And then we're just growing things with out of dirt that has no nutrients in it. Which is why we're supposed to, I don't always do this, but we're supposed to repot our plants every year, for example, because your plants need good soil to grow. It's the same with our food. It's why we should be rotating crops and making sure we have that healthy soil. Sorry. I'm very
Sounds great.
passionate about that stuff.
Great.
Time off. We need to take time off from our activities so that your body can heal and repair. If we are just constantly, chronic marathoning, chronic ultra marathons, running, countless miles every single day of the week and never taking any time off, at some point your body will most likely break unless you are Superman. Time off can be after a race. Jacob, I know, highly recommends taking a full 2 weeks off of any kind of like big A race of the year. That is for mental benefits, that's for the physical benefits. Taking time off throughout the week if you notice your body start to feel fatigued, or if you start to feel some kind of sickness come on, it's a really good time to just take even just one day off. Your body needs that, and I promise will thank you in the long run. Taking one day off now is going to be potentially so much more beneficial than if you need to take off months down the road because of some type of injury that could have been solved after taking maybe a couple days off. So big proponents of doing that.
But Kaylee, you just don't understand. It's only 2 miles, and I need to run every day or move at my body every day.
2 miles is still 2 miles. Every even quarter mile that you put on your body, the amount of force and pressure and tension that running takes on our body is a lot. Like if you think of the first time you ever ran a mile, like that is very hard on your body. And even if it doesn't seem stressful, that's still stress on your body. And if you are someone like the majority of people that we know that say you need it for your mental health, then that's a deeper discussion and even greater of a sign that we need to look further into that and take time off. We need to find things that are not just running and working out so that, again, hopefully an injury won't happen, but if and when it does, you have something else to fall back onto, and so that your entire life isn't just running. Because something, not to put this out to the universe, but like things are bound to happen. That's life. And we need to be able to have that rest for our nervous system, get you out of fight or flight mode. Because every time you run, you are going into fight or flight, even if it's an easy, quote, easy hike or an easy run, it is still stress on your body.
Yeah, I don't like the term easy running. That's a different conversation. But
A lot of people like to classify their runs as easy.
I
So,
don't know if it's possible to have an easy run on your joints. That's where I'm at. Or
yeah.
bones.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, even if you think it's an easy run, it's still not easy. Like, it's still, I don't care if you're doing 30-minute miles or 5-minute miles. It's
Yeah.
all hard on the body. Obviously, different types of hard, but it is hard. And it is stress at the end of the day.
Yeah. Don't forget to work in. You can't just work out. Next tip. I believe this is number 7. 8, 9, yeah. I think. Find community. You all know I'm big on community. Here's the thing. Community is going to help you take yourself hopefully a little less seriously and make it more fun and enjoyable and not like a job. Find a community. Go to a run club. If you're out in Stillwater, go visit Wild Rivers running club. If you're in Minneapolis, I hear there's a good strength class you can go to. It's Tuesday nights at 6 p.m. and Thursday mornings at 6 a.m. in the North Loop. I forget the company. Oak Endurance.
Yeah,
Check that out.
I think
That's
that's
a
what
good
it
one.
is.
I've heard great things about them. So find community.
I hear somebody cool called Kaylee also goes to every single class. So, yeah, you should check it out. Another one of my favorites is body work,
Working in.
working in. Both Jacob and I, on a pretty regular schedule, do massage, we do acupuncture, we do chiropractic, and all of those forms of therapies are so good for inflammation. They are good for blood circulation. They are good for your nervous system. Again, bringing you into that rest and digest, taking us out of that fight or flight state. They are good for injury prevention, making sure we don't get injured, slash, if you are injured, also extremely good to incorporate, and just longevity purposes. They will help keep you healthier and active for a longer time if you incorporate these things. everyone is different in terms of how often and what you should be doing, but both of us get massages about every 4 weeks. I typically go in for acupuncture every 2 to 4 weeks, depending on what kind of season I'm in. Leading up to a race, I'm going every week, especially if it's a big race. I'm getting acupuncture right after the race. Again, so important for recovery and bringing your body back into balance and homeostasis. And yeah, maintenance schedules, I'd say every 1 to 2 months for all of these things will be your best bet. And then if you're getting into higher mileage, more training, definitely start increasing the amount of time that you're spending going to these different modalities.
Tip number 9, biofeedback, which is essentially practicing our awareness around the physiological functions in our body, such as your average heart rate, your heart rate variance, which is the time between heartbeats, your breath rate, body temp, and mood. These are all very good signals that our body sends us, and a lot of people here have some type of device or way of tracking this. If you don't have a device, you can take your heart rate every morning. Set a timer for 20 seconds, gym school style it, find your pulse, just count it, multiply that by 3. Boom. Track that so you know where your average heart rate is. If your average heart rate starts to go up and it doesn't come down, if your HRV starts to go really low and doesn't go up compared to your average of what you usually have, right? Your breath rate, if it's getting super high and you're breathing a lot more, specifically out rather than in. Body temp, if that's super high, or if your mood's super irritable. I don't have irritability personally, but I know other people, that's a telltale sign for them. So aura ring, the aura ring is phenomenal for these, and I look at it every single day, and it summarizes, gives me a metric based off those 5 things. It's phenomenal. Highly recommend. And I'll say this now, because I think it's worth bringing up. A lot of the stuff we're talking about today comes from a point of privilege, and I recognize that. And I want to say that everything we just talked about, there are versions that you can get without having devices, having, organic foods, instead of a massage, a foam roller, things like that, right? Quote unquote perfect doesn't exist, and it's also not the enemy of good, right? So just remember those things too. And if you are someone that is like questioning these types of things, reach out. We would love to know, especially if you're someone that's like, oh, they're privileged, so I'm not going to listen to them talk because they don't understand me. Well, that'd be even better reason to reach out. So.
And these are also all things we've been incorporating over time. We didn't just start any of these things overnight. They are all things that they're our own personal tried and true practices that we have found to work and that are really important to us. So don't hear all these things and be like, oh my gosh, I need to completely change my life tomorrow. Take one thing that we've talked about today and try incorporating it. Drink a glass of lemon water in the morning. You don't need to automatically just start seeing a massage therapist, going to acupuncture, doing all this stuff immediately. Please don't let it overwhelm you. I always tell my patients this too, like, I just want you to have all of the resources just so that it's available, and take what you need and leave the rest. And if you want to come back to it in a month or two, great. And yeah, it's all about the cumulative effects and being consistent with things.
A bag of frozen veggies can go a long way. Nutrients, good for icing, inflammation, getting that down. If it's hard enough, you can use it as a foam roller. You could even maybe use it for strength exercises, depending on what you get. So, and that's like $2.
And keeps for a long time.
And keeps for a long time.
My last one is active recovery practices. So I have a lot of things for that, but those are things such as gentle movement. So if this is an off day, or say maybe you have some kind of like injury, like a hamstring strain, calf thing, incorporating mobility work is something that we should all be doing. Again, I'm not perfect with that, but mobility is great. Walking, yoga is really good with that gentle movement. I also think of this stuff as like heat therapy. So I recommend Epsom salt baths a lot. If you have super tight muscles and or even have difficulty relaxing, this is a good thing to do before sleep. Because again, it's helping to calm down the body. The Epsom salts have magnesium in them, and that's then getting absorbed into your skin, which is the largest organ in your body. And along with that heat is just so beneficial for your muscles and body and nervous system. Red light therapy is great. Saunas are also really good for recovery. If you have access at your gym or personally, Normatec boots are also really good compression devices for your legs. But yeah, those are some of my favorite active recovery practices. Anything else to add with that?
I think we gave them a good place to start. 10 items. What's your we get to do this moment for the week?
Can I do two?
Of course.
Um, well, first I was going to say this is just a little bit of the I'm sharing about the power of the universe with you last week. I'm a huge manifester and believe
Woman
in,
Fester.
thank you. I'm a big woman ifester, and I believe that our words hold power, and what we speak into the universe has great power in like actually happening. So, anyways, we were talking about our monthly goals, or just goals right now, and where we want to be. And I was talking to Jacob about run coaching and how many new run coaching clients that he wants this month, and personal training, and just where things are at. And less than 20, so we talked about that. And then less than 24 hours later, some person a person from the internet reached out about run coaching, and literally started with you that day or the next day. And it was just, I don't know, it's cool, like the power of the universe and really making what your needs, what your goals, what your wants are known, and not just keeping them inside. Tell other people about them, write them out, put them on your mirror. I promise that you will get so much closer to your goals a lot faster by doing this. So I thought that was pretty cool. And then my other one was we did the Willow River Trail race this weekend. And if you haven't been to Willow River State Park yet, it's a really cool park out near Hudson, Wisconsin. And they have a waterfall. And it was just super cool to be around the trail community. And I'm also dabbling in running a little bit faster on the trails and picking up speed a little bit. And I just felt super grateful to be able to just, we signed up a week ago or so because we both had long runs this weekend, and just felt very privileged. And it was very good. We get to do this moment that we just got to go out and run on these trails with a bunch of awesome humans.
Kate even said that was the we get to do this moment for her. She brought that up, so that was cool.
Yeah, we got to run with Kate of Wild River Running for her first ever trail race, which was also very exciting because I love breaking people's trail virginity.
You're awesome.
Wah, wah.
Yeah, mine was the Willow River run with friends and then biking today, like 30 miles with friends. I'm so lucky that we have friends that will do wild things like that with us. And yeah, I guess that's really all I have to say about that.
Yeah, really grateful, especially this time of year in Minnesota. It's just everyone's just happier and coming out of hibernation. It's just a really good time to be alive, you know? Another 40.
40 episodes.
Thank
That's
you
crazy.
for
We're gonna
sticking
be.
with us to 40.
We need to do a yearly, like, in-person event
Yeah, we're getting close to
that
that
comes up in
actually.
like 3 months.
Yeah,
That's insane. One podcast a week for almost a year. Wow, you're awesome.
we're awesome.
Yeah.
If this is your first episode that you've listened to us, thank you for joining and listening. We really appreciate you being here. Again, always please feel free to reach out to us and ask any questions because we are human and all want to learn together and continue to grow this community.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks so
Another
much.
episode.
Wow, Kaylee, we made it through another episode. What do you think?
We would love if you would go give us a follow, a 5-star review, and comment on the episode and what you liked and what you'd like to see more of.
See you next time.
We get to do this.